Okay, so now that we have seen what these lectures can be like, let's actually dive into a demo. So for project 3, we are going to create a creature that's a hybrid creature that has two different creatures combined into one. So in this example, we have, well, this fish I've already done a little work on in class. As you can see, I've erased out some of his chin and some of his head here. We have this fish, and then we have his friend, this little frog. And so the frog, I've already deleted away also some of his body. And so let's see what we can do by combining these two together. As we saw in class, one way that you can delete part of the frog, for instance, was that I was able to use, as we did in the first project, the masking tool here, and I was able to select different sections. So where the red appears is what I'm selecting with my mask. Once I click off of the masking tool, it shows me what I've selected here. And so that being said, I was able to, oh, well no, I have the opposite selected here, I'm sorry. I actually have the opposite selected, so I will go to select inverse here, and it has now done this, and I will click backspace as seen on the keyboard feature and get rid of that. Command Z is undo. I just need to put that out there. That's what I do whenever I go back a step to show you yet again what I just did. So that would be Command or Control Z if you're looking at the keyboard. And so to make our little friend here look like he is part of the fish, we're going to start blending some of his features. So let's look here in this black spot. The black spot was actually already a part of our fish, and so we're going to add some features of some of the black spots that are on the frog onto the black spot that is the fish. To do this first, I'm going to take these two layers and make a new copy of them. And so by doing that, I'm dragging them down to this little emblem, which looks like a sticky note, and it creates new page of both, a new layer of both. And I'm going to now right click on both of them and click merge layers. By doing that, I now have this as one single layer, kind of like our finished one, but I haven't done the blending yet. So now I'm going to come in and really look at our frog. I like some of these little details that are within this light blue area. The light blue is very close to this blue here, but it's not exactly, so I'm going to actually use my dodge tool, which lightens areas. Burn tool darkens areas, as it sounds like it does in the description. And I'm going to come in and kind of lighten this until it matches a little better with what we're doing with our frog colors here. And so we have this exposure setting here which can actually raise and lower the effect, and so I'm going to just bring it up a little bit more, and then I can come in and you can already see that it's making a little bit of a change. And so I'm going to really do it right in here. You can see my pixels when I get in really close like this, but it also helps us really focus our attention on where it needs to be. And so I want to adjust this a little bit more. I also really want to get these shadows instead of just the midtones, bring them up a bit more. You can play with all of these highlights, bring in all of them and bring it up so it matches. So now our blues are a little bit better. This doesn't really blend well, and so I'm going to come in with, we talked in class about some of our friendly new tools, the healing brush, the spot healing brush, and the clone stamp, which is right here, clone stamp tool. And so we're going to actually use, I think that the best one to use for this would be the spot healing brush. We can just look at it and see what it does. And so as we discussed in class, the spot healing brush is known for taking information, what it believes needs to be placed in that place, and blending that information itself. You don't have much control over the spot healing brush, but it does a really good job, so we can use it right in here. As you can see, it's gotten this blue to where it matches, and it blended it really well. Another way we can do that is the healing brush tool. The healing brush tool is like the spot healing brush, but instead of it just taking random information and putting it in, it lets you actually select by holding down your Alt key, which is this key on your keyboard right here. You are able to bring up this little viewfinder, as you can see my cursor, and select where you want the information to be drawn from that is then applied over wherever you're putting it. And so say I want to put this right here, it automatically blends it for me. So those two little green dots blended the black background with the blue from right here. And so we want to actually undo that because we don't need that green color up in that spot. But let's now try it with a little bit of this area in here just so you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to take the information from this spot and I'm going to put it here. Notice that right here, when I click, it will bring up a plus sign. This little plus sign actually shows you where you're pulling information from at any given time. So if I wanted to really do like this, I could. I mean, I'm not saying I'd want to, but it really shows you exactly where the brush is traveling. So that's really helpful in this case. I'm going to just do a couple little touch-ups around the around the frog's gills. I don't like what it just did there where it made it darker though, so I'm going to come back up here and actually just get rid of it and look at different ways I can make it blend and make it more believable as a real animal hybrid. And so I like this little dot. I think that it would be really good if I put one of them kind of down in here since they're kind of being pulled into the blues. Maybe same with there, kind of have a splotchiness to it. And so bring some of the features from the frog down into the fish, just like we're bringing some of the features of the fish up into the frog. So I'm going to pull this spot, same way, and I'm going to put it down in here. I didn't do this with my original image, but I kind of like that idea, so not that one though. I might do a little less. I might go back and add some of this to the one that I finished just the other day, just to make it a little bit more believable. And so now that we've done that, I might use my little spot healing brush to kind of blend it. I can also use my clone stamp. The clone stamp is super fun. We're going to use it just like we used the healing brush tool, where I hold down Alt, which again is this key on your keyboard. It is my Option Alt key on a Mac, Alt on a Windows, and I'm going to use my viewfinder to select this dark area. I'm going to now bring this dark area and kind of put some of it up in here and make it where it kind of blends this splotch into the body of the frog a bit. Kind of like how this is, but down here. And so what I want to do is, that's how the clone stamp works. It takes whatever information I want from wherever I am. So I'm going to select this beautiful fin, and I now can draw that fin here. But the difference between the clone stamp and the healing brush tool is that it does not blend it. It takes it at face value and just copies it over. So you can still see there's a little plus sign here, and that's where it was drawing from. It's taking it exactly how I find it. So the clone stamp literally stamps at face value the information on another part of your image, while the spot healing brush tool and the healing brush tools blend with the top layer that you're applying and the bottom layer to make it where it is more believable in a lot of instances. So if I wanted to, say, take this fin and add it right here with my spot healing tool, or my healing brush tool, I'm sorry, that's what it would look like versus the clone stamp, which I'm going to use to do the same exact thing. And so this didn't blend, this one did blend with the background. So that's just a little bit of information to show you what's going on with that. Let's now come into our spots. I like the inside of the spots being this darker blue rather than just being black, so I'm going to pull some of that down here into what we have going on with this spot. I feel like it's a little too plain, and so I'm actually going to add some details. And I like this light blue. I think that it's important for us to have that around this dark spot because they have lighter areas around each of the spots. And so I added that down there just by copying this little edge right here with my viewfinder and bringing it down here. Also, I don't think that this looks very finished out, so I'm going to actually just, with my viewfinder, select this spot and extend it out. So I'm going to select it like right about there and extend it into the black spot a bit more. And I'm doing this again with holding Alt. I'm going to do it right here as well. Kind of bring that into there a bit more. And so to make it blend where it doesn't look repetitive, I can actually select with a smaller brush and just blend it. And so we've got that look too. I think that this is going really well, this blending here, but I think I'm going to actually edit it slightly. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Just kind of blend it where it looks more finished off at that edge rather than the way it was looking. And I'm going to add in some more stuff right there. Let's see what we have zooming out. So far, that looks actually pretty believable as a fish frog, or a frish if you're Gabby Mallet, one of our instructors here. She likes to call this my frish. So we have a completely different version, but blended just the same, of what I've been working on as our other. So now that we have this version, let's actually pull some of the details from the fish up into the head of the frog. I think it's important to get details from both directions, so we're going to do that now. Okay, so I like the yellows that we have here, I like the oranges up here, and I like the pattern that we have here. So of those, I want to get some of it up into the face. I see that we have this kind of blue body that's here, but I like the idea of having maybe some of this yellow brought into the chin of our frog. It might make it where it's blending the two compositions together a little bit more effortlessly. To do that though, we can either pull this and try and shift directions. Another way would be to actually take our marquee tool, which is here. Let me do that again slower. The elliptical marquee tool is what I'm actually using because what I'm grabbing is kind of a circular shape. And I'm going to drag it down here and hold shift. When I hold shift, it keeps my circle an actual circle instead of it being oblong, just for my personal preference. And I'm going to Command C, which is also Control C for copy. You can also do that by going to Edit, Copy here. And then I'm going to go to Edit, Paste, or if you're wanting to learn the hotkeys, which I think all of y'all need to know the hotkeys, you'll press Command or Control, which is this key here, and V. And that made a new layer of that area. So now I have this part of the little fishy fins, and I can pull that to wherever I need. So I'm wanting to make these splotches kind of go in the direction of his neck because they go in the direction the fin travels, and so I really want it to be readable. So I'm going to actually come here to transform, and I can actually rotate it. Edit, transform, rotate, if you missed that, just to reiterate it again. And I like the idea of it being smaller, so I'm going to select, accept that, but then I'm going to come back up here and do free transform. And I'm going to, by holding shift, keep it proportionate. Make sure you hold shift. And before I release my hold on shift, I'm actually going to release my cursor. So I'm still holding shift until I've already released this and I'm no longer editing it. So now that I have this layer in this way, I'm able to take this information, which is the same splotches and color as here, but in a different direction and smaller, to add to my face. So when you're going between different layers and you're wanting the information to go on a new layer, you're actually going to use the same tools. Your spot healing brush tool is not as helpful in this, but you can use your healing brush tool and your clone stamp tool to get this information onto your frog. So I'm going to use the healing brush tool, and I'm going to hold down my Alt key here, which is this key yet again,